Welcome to another episode of the Belgian Waffle Show. On this episode, we're going to keep the awards going, and we're going to catch up with one of our KUDOS awards winner, Michael Macare. He's a pretty solid guy. Dude is a great time. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always high-fiving people. He has attempted BWR a couple times in the past, and he had his fair shares of ups and downs and came back, and third time's a charm, made it happen. So we're gonna hear from Michael Marks first on why Michael deserves the KUDOS award, kind of go in a little depth on that, and then we're gonna jump into the interview with Michael and really break down, his preparation for this year, what happened, prior years in the two events past on, what his thoughts are on the event, the atmosphere, just all the good times. But yeah, Michael's a great guy. If you're in the Southern California area, I know you probably know who he is. You've seen him, and if you're not, hopefully you'll get to meet him one day because he's a really great guy. So that's it for that. Let's jump right into this. And first, we're going to hear from Michael Marks, and then we're going to go into our KUDOS award winner with Michael. All right, enjoy.
Then we have two KUDOS awards. Michael wins his for he wins it for being happy and a wonderful spirit, just like Udo. He wins it because 2 years ago he attempted the event and didn't finish, and then 1 year ago he attempted the event and didn't finish. This year he dedicated himself to training hard, to being more adept in the dirt, to being able to get through a long day, and ended up finishing. So third time's a charm. But it's not only that perseverance, but just the spirit that he brings to every day that is lovable and representative of the spirit of Udo.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Post Belgian Waffle Ride. It's the Belgian Waffle Ride show. And on the line with us, we've got our KUDOS winner, Michael Macare. Michael, what's going on tonight?
How you doing today? How's everybody doing out there?
I'll tell you, we're great. We're rested now that the event's done,
Oh, come
Over.
on, John. You know there's really no rest for BWR. It's you do the race, you finish the race, and your brain's already thinking, so what am I going to do better for next year? There's really no rest.
Yeah. No, you got a point there. You try to have a little rest, and it's kind of like you get like 2 seconds in, and you're like, wait, no, never mind. I can't rest. There's still
Yeah,
more to
exactly.
be done. Whether. So yeah, how was it? How you feeling now? It's been a few weeks now. It's done, and you kind of do that build up for it, and now it's kind of in the back for a little bit. How's it going with it? How you feeling?
To be honest with you, it was a very surreal moment to finally come across that finish line and see everybody that was there to congratulate me. I mean, there were so many people that were there. There were people that did the wafer. There were people that finished 2 hours ahead of me. Everybody was still there, and there was random people that I had seen on the race course that we had ridden together that took the time to congratulate me. The guys from TBG Timing came over and said congratulations. It was a great feeling, and that feeling didn't go away for quite a while. I would have to say probably for a good 2 weeks. That lasting glow of the feeling of accomplishment of finally getting through BWR. And not only that, but I beat the time that I had planned for myself. I didn't have any issues on the course. I woke up the next day. I didn't have a lot of pains as far as muscle cramps or anything like that. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, everything just went really well. And the next 2 weeks probably in my mind was just like, wow, I actually did it. And I did it so well. And I couldn't believe that it was over. And I couldn't believe that I actually finished it. So, it's been, like you said, it's been a couple weeks. What is it now? Almost a month and a half or so. And,
about
yes,
6 weeks.
About 6 weeks. So the glow's finally gone away. But at the same time, it's like in the back of my mind, it's that craving of, okay, what's next? Like, we still have a whole nother year before that. We still have other events that are coming up. We have adventure rides. We just ride in general. But it's like, now it's in the back of my mind of, okay, now that it's finally over, what can I do to get better next year? What am I going to do to top, what I did this year? Because I thought I did great. And okay, now there's a goal to, of course, get better. And it's like, holy cow, how can I do that? But, in all reality, it was an amazing event. And if you haven't done the event and you haven't experienced crossing that finish line, it's something you really need to do sometime in your life. That's all I can say.
So, real quick, how many times have you done BWR before?
So this is now my third time.
Okay, so obviously you know you're gonna do it. Like, but if we backtrack a little bit, you know you're gonna do it this year. But like, what's kind of going through your mind as far as like, okay, I'm gonna do BWR this year. Like, I'm excited, I'm nervous, I gotta do some training, I need to do it. Like, what's kind of like in your mind, like your rundown of like when BWR when it's approaching, like what are you doing over there?
So the main thing for me, so you're saying like within weeks of the event or within weeks
Well, just
of
kind of like when
sign up?
you like, just kind of like when it's a, like BWR is either it's this year, you're gonna do it. Like, are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you breaking down like your training schedule? Like, is it something that you're looking forward to like months out in advance, or that you just kind of like, it's kind of on the calendar for you? Like,
Gotcha.
what makes it kind of special? Because it is kind of like
So
its own thing.
the biggest thing that made it special this year was this was actually my birthday present for my mom. So my mom actually bought my registration on my birthday for BWR because she knows and she knew that it was something that was a goal of mine to finally accomplish. And, my mom can give me anything that she wants for my birthday, but she wanted something that was a goal that I've always wanted to accomplish. And she wanted to put that in front of me. And she was like, here, I'm going to help you to reach that goal. I'll take care of your registration fee. You just concentrate on training and you do what you have to do and you make me proud by finishing the race. And when she gave that to me, I was just like, oh, that's the coolest thing. I mean, I've gotten some really cool gifts for my birthday, but that was really awesome that she gave that to me. So going from there, I had even more on my plate than before of, okay, now my mom has put it in front of me that here's your goal. And now you have to accomplish this because I gave this to you as a gift. So you need to make sure you do this right. So, that was the whole thing for this year was, every year when it's time to register for BWR, of course, you get those butterflies in your stomach of, man, it's that time. Do I hit that button? Do I register? Am I going to do wafer? Am I going to do waffle? For me, the wafer has never been an option. I've always only wanted to do the waffle. I was only going to do the wafer after I completed the waffle, more so as a relaxing ride. The waffle's more of that, one day just mess with your brain type thing. And I've always wanted to get through it. So, this year my big thing was I've done 2 years now of trying to do the race by myself. The first year that I did it, we made it to the La Costa area and my friend cramped out. So I wasn't going to leave him there by himself. So we were an hour away from finishing the event and there was no way for us to get, through La Costa, through Double Peak and to the Lost Abbey. It was just wasn't going to happen. So we got picked up, and that was year number one. Ironically, that was his second year. So last year, which is 2018, we did it again. And when I crossed Lemon Twist the first time, when we went through that little muddy area, apparently something flew up and got in my eye. First thing I did naturally was scratch my eye, and apparently well, not apparently, I got a corneal abrasion. Basically, what was that, mile marker 10 or something? So I rode the rest of the day with a corneal abrasion, but I couldn't tell that it was there because I was riding in bright sunlight. So it didn't bother me. When I made it back to Lemon Twist and basically started climbing Del Dios, the sun fell behind Elfin Forest, and all of a sudden I had vision problems. I had, half black, half darkness, and I was like, what's going on? So I did the winky eye test, and sure enough, when I winked my right eye, I could see nothing but blurriness with black spots out of my left eye. So I made it up to the top of to the top of Del Dios and called my wife, and she came and picked me up, and she was like, you only have a little bit more to go, and your friend is literally about 5 minutes ahead of you, so you're not that far behind him. You guys are going to finish. And I was like, well, we have to go through Elfin Forest. I would rather be safe that I don't accidentally blink my eye at the wrong time and swerve into traffic. I'd rather just wait and do it another year. So here comes 2019. And my big thing for 2019 is late last year, I got an invitation to join Tasco Mountain Bike team. So I'm part of their team, and one of the team members is Chi Plankin, who is an outdoor fitness coach. So she basically helped me with my training schedule from January on. I stopped drinking beer, which was a really big weird thing because I used to do the Ruler Thursday night rides. Of course, that's from a brewery, so it's like, okay, you're done riding, you want a beer, and it's like, no, I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm not gonna drink any beer. I want to stay clean. I want to train hard. I just want to get through BWR, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to that point. And the training did well. The lack of beer, of course, it was a pain in the butt, but it did well for me. My nutrition was well. So I had, basically all the pieces of the puzzle were there, but it's just one of those things that when it comes down to actual race day, you just never know what's going to happen. I've seen it on the race course. You've seen it. You've seen, the after effect at, Lost Abbey. Shit can just go wrong when you're doing the event. And, knock on wood, everything went well this year. Nothing, like I said, nothing went wrong. And it was just an amazing experience of getting to the starting grid. I was surrounded by a bunch of friends that we had a plan to attack the race. Our plan did not come to fruition because we, split apart, but we all managed to make it back to Lost Abbey. Every single one of us finished. Most of them were first time riders of doing events that were over 100 miles, and they all finished. And, we did a lot of training rides together and we had a lot of fun building up to BWR. And the fact that every single one of us was able to cross the finish line at one time or another was a great accomplishment for all of us. And, that was the whole thing for me for this year too, was just having a team of riders to train with. It was some of the Tasco team, the riders on Thursday night from the Rouleur ride, some of the gravel stoke team. There was just so many riders that were into doing this event, and they've never done anything like this before. But it was just like a community thing of we're going to do this together and we're going to get through it together, and that really made a huge difference on race day as well.
So backing up a little bit, can I ask, like, when did you, like, how far out from BWR, as far as the date of the race, did you really start buckling down on that training, not drinking beer, like really getting like diligent over there?
So for me, it was actually the end of January
Okay.
of 2019. It was when I started really hardcore training.
And like, what did like kind of like, your average week kind of look like? Or like, what did you set it up like, I know you hit some other events too, like, you're not drinking beer. Like, did you kind of have a set schedule of like how to do your training, or like, what that kind of look like for you?
So for me, it was basically like a Monday, Wednesday, Saturday thing of cycling.
Mhm.
I had never done intervals before, so that was something new that I learned this year that I was put on my schedule. The weird thing for me was the fact that it rained a lot. So with me just starting to do intervals, I spent a lot of time in the gym, and I learned to really hate spin bikes. But
Yep.
the interval training really, really helped me. And building off of that was, the accomplished goal was every week I would have to do at least 50 to 100 miles every Saturday with the group or, by myself or whoever. That was another thing. So leading up to BWR, I think I was clocking something like close to 250 miles a week, whether it was, the intervals, everything accumulated per week was, I think, 250 miles of riding, and it was scattered during the week. I did minimal gym work as far as light lifting, just to get my muscles going. The weirdest thing for me is the fact that I lost a lot of strength in my legs. Like I leaned out a lot, but I used to be able to squat and deadlift a lot, and now that I go back to the gym, I lost a lot of my strength, so I'm building it back up. But I also don't have that bulkiness that I used to have, and so, my frame is a lot lighter, I guess, than it was before. So it benefited me with the long rides that I was doing. And, of course, it benefited me because I finished BWR this year. So, but, essentially all the way up until the week of BWR, it was all hardcore training and it worked.
How did this year it sounds like your your program and training was like, pretty top notch compared to years past. Your diet, you're not drinking. Like, how did you feel differently during the ride this year than the years before?
The main thing for me
Like,
was I didn't feel mentally that I needed to, really worry about nutrition and cramping. In previous years, naturally, I always had cramping issues. I wasn't eating right. I would eat terrible foods. I didn't know what it was like to eat proper foods leading up to a race. I didn't know what it was like to just train for a race, eating the foods leading up to the race. My big thing for this year, one of the guys that I was riding with makes these little rice cakes with bacon and ham. And he had told me, and we had talked about this, and a lot of my friends had told me the same thing is you're going to be out on the bike for 10 to 12 hours. Let's just put it that way. So the last thing you want to do is from the get-go start eating all of your nutritional supplements, i.e., Goo Energy, because that's the product that I use. They're like, don't do that. Train your body to be able to eat proper foods that your body can burn properly for at least the first half of the race. And so that was one thing that I really trained myself in doing was eating foods, real foods, for the first half of whatever rides I'm doing. And then from there, I would start using whatever supplements to make it through the second half. And I think that was the main key for me for this year was the nutrition aspect of all the way up until Mesa Grande, I was eating real foods. I was eating those little rice cakes. Of course, I was drinking my hydration, but I think that little thing right there made the biggest difference where I didn't have to worry about cramping. I didn't worry about stomach issues. I just had all that dialed in where on race day, it was the biggest thing that I didn't have to worry about. And I think in past years, it was always one of those things of, am I eating enough? Am I drinking enough? Am I forgetting something? And then, it would always be in my mind of, okay, I got to make sure I'm actually doing this. But with this year, it just seemed like everything just went smoothly and, the food and the hydration just took care of itself and my body was fine.
So do you think one thing too, like just doing all that work before, like just it kind of gave you the confidence, like mentally, like going into it, like, hey, I did, X, Y, Z. I've never done this before, and like, you kind of felt like you're on a whole nother level because of that.
I truly feel that the training benefited me in a mental way as well. I feel that Belgian Waffle Ride and all these, what I consider these ultra endurance rides now, all of these rides, I would have to say probably 90% of the ride is actually mental. Yes, it's our bodies that are pedaling and, our bodies are doing all the work. But if you don't have the mental control and the mental capacity to get over whatever humps you have to get over during the event, I don't think it's going to matter because you're going to crack. And just like you just asked me, yes, I think the mental game really played a great aspect of I did all these keys and put all these pieces of the puzzle together where on race day it wasn't a mental thing of me worrying about any of those issues. Really the only thing that I was worried about on race day was just pedaling and being safe and not getting a flat tire. And I didn't have that happen. It's been 3 years where I've never had any mechanical issues. So, another year went through
Impressive
and
right
I was
there.
fine. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And, it's just like, yeah, the mental thing I would have to say was a very strong thing to get through the event. And because I was, mentally right, I was fine.
So going like you kind of was kind of, I mean, sorry, that's kind of a good lead in right there. Like I'm curious on, your setup for the event as far as what you chose, bike, tires, pressure. I mean, you just said you haven't had any mechanical, so obviously you're doing something, right? Like how did you go about building your bike or, picking, what you wanted to use for the event to make sure you got through safely?
So, as you know, this is my third year doing it. So the first year, I did it on a giant Defy endurance bike. At that time, there weren't ultra knobby tires for doing gravel, so I was running G1 tires. I think I did 28s. So, that was my first year ever doing BWR. Managed not to get any flats, but I was also really touchy with that bike because, quote unquote, it wasn't a gravel bike. So I didn't want to, damage the bike because it was meant more as a road bike. Last year, I did it on Giant TCX, which was a 1x11, which I was having issues with gearing. My gearing setup wasn't right because I only had 11 gears. So I felt that it wasn't ideal for that type of race, or at least for me, it wasn't ideal. And for that year, I was able to run a little bit knobbier of a setup. So I ran 33s in the front and 30s in the rear. And, I was fine. This year, Giant came out with their own gravel bike, so I have a Giant Revolt Advanced 1. And the main thing for me, the main takeaway is, that I've said this to many of my friends, The main things for me when it comes to the selection of the bike, it wasn't so much the bike, it was mainly the wheels and the tires. I'm lucky enough that I was able to buy as many sets of tires as I needed to get through them, to figure out what the proper setup was. Finally, I was able to get with Steve Driscoll, so I got a set of IRCs, and I started really testing those out and seeing if they were going to work for me. I started with a set of Bokens, the 40s, and then I worked my way down. I worked my way down to a set of 32s, the Serac CX Sands, and I kid you not, those things were the greatest tires ever. I used those for 2 months worth of training, and I used them on race day. In all the rock gardens and any type of training that we ever did through any rock gardens, I never once had a slash. I never once had a failure. So it worked. My tire pressures for the day, I ran 43 in the front, 45 in the rear. The wheels that I was running were a set of Spinergy GXC, their new carbon gravel wheels. And same thing, we did some amazing gravel training rides beforehand. And I was riding the bike like I would ride a mountain bike on single track, just not caring because I was given the assurance that this wheel and tire combo was probably the best thing for me and I wouldn't have any problems. I never had any problems, and it got me through BWR. And it's one of those things, when you're doing BWR and you're going through all those different terrains of road, dirt, gravel, going through the creek crossing, going through Sandy Bandy, there's so much that is put into this one day of different types of terrain that can really cause major problems for a human being and the bicycle. And the wheels and tires did their thing. The bike held together. I used wind wax, so I didn't have any issues with the chain making any chirping noises. Didn't drop the chain at all during the day. It was just like the perfect setup. And the other addition that I got this year was I got a Lauf fork. So I got the grit for a suspension fork. And I kid you not, that was like a night and day difference for all of the little chunkiness through Lake Hodges, through Black Canyon with the washboards. That little 30 millimeters of travel on that fork was like a gift from God because I mean, I kid you not, it would just soak up whatever I threw at it. And it felt just so good because my hands weren't getting worn out from all the chattery. It would do its job and it did its job really well. So those
Do you
those
feel
are the
like that?
keys for the setup.
Do you feel like that fork? I'm just curious. Like took away because obviously BWR is it is a lot more road than dirt at the end of the day. But do you feel like that you like that hampered you at all on the road, or like you gave up much with having that fork?
Not at all. My biggest concern was actually more so on the tires. Was
Okay.
for the past 2 years I ran smaller tires, and so now this year I was riding something that was a little bit more aggressive in a knob, and so I wasn't sure how much more that was going to slow me down, and it didn't at all. I mean that Serac CX hand profile with the knobs and the little teeth on the edges is like the greatest combo. I mean I know that other people chose other tires but for my setup and the way that I ride, because I ride very weird as far as picking dumb lines half the time. So technically speaking, I should be getting flats all the time. But if you have the proper setup and you have the proper air pressure, your bike's going to do the job for you, and all you have to do is just pedal and ride. And that's basically the setup that I have.
So has your setup changed much over the years? You've done this is your third year now. Like, have you kind of had like a go-to setup every year, or I mean, obviously there's new products coming out every year that you can obviously you have the fork this year. So other than that, but like, do you kind of like I don't want to say like evolve, but like, have you changed your setup each year to find something better and better, or do you kind of know what you like?
It's definitely been a year to year changing of finding something better and finding something that I felt would work and learning from my experience. So the first year I did it on a 2x drivetrain on a road bike. Second year I did it on a cyclocross bike with a 1x drivetrain, and then this year I did it on a dedicated gravel bike with a 2x drivetrain once again. And it's been an evolution, like you said, the drivetrains have changed, the geometries have changed, of a little bit more relaxing, a little bit more comfortable. The fork, I never thought about trying a fork like that before. And so getting that was like a game changer for me. And now we're looking at next year already. And so now, I'm considering getting a Di2 drivetrain or, something different. But I don't think for next year anything is really going to be that mind blowing of a change from the setup from this year. I think the main thing to take notice is how much more road are we going to do next year if the course is going to change, how much less dirt. I really wanted to try the 28C Marbellas from IRC, but I just felt that with the amount of dirt that we had to do and with the amount of chunkiness that was still out there, I just felt having the confidence of just a little bit wider of a tire with a little bit more knobs was going to make the difference for me. And in all reality, John, that's the main thing that I look at changing on a year to year basis is what new tire is going to be out for BWR. Or if there isn't a new tire, am I still going to run the same tire? Or, is there going to be something else? That's the main thing for me is just trying to find the right tire for the conditions that we're going to have. If it was going to be muddy, I might have ran Bokens instead of running the Seracs. It just you never know until that actual day of. But my training on those tires was like the best thing, and so for next year I might technically run the same setup. I really don't know if anything's going to change.
That is kind of the cool thing about BWR is how like you have to adapt so many different things, whether it's your training or most importantly your bike as far as like with what's coming at you. I mean, we did the this year and last year the same course, and next year Michael's talking about a whole new course. So who knows, like I mean, just that you can't even say right now like what your setup's going to be even next year because you don't know what Michael's going to throw in there. Or like, hey, it's going to be more dirt, less dirt. It's going to be 5 crossings of water instead of one. So it's kind of like the
Yep.
cool unknown about it. But so what are you thinking about like next year? Are you excited that you see there's a new course coming, or like moving forward now? What are your thoughts?
So I'm extremely excited about the buzz of the potential of some course changes. I was I consider myself very lucky that I was able to do the race last year and then do the race this year where the course was pretty much the same thing. So I had trained rigorously for pretty much, if you think about it, I've ridden the course for 2 years now. And I knew all of the course. I knew, all the ins and outs of it. I knew where I failed at in previous years. The biggest thing for me, John, was when I made it to Julian Pie Company, I was so ahead of my time that when I got home and I looked at my times, I was 30 minutes faster on the first half of the race this year. That's a huge difference in time. And to see that, it was just all that training and remembering of, okay, this is that one spot and this is another spot. And that was something that I told a lot of my friends was, especially with the Black Canyon climb, there's mile markers on the side of the road. And I told all my friends, I was like, the main thing that works for me is reading those mile markers and remembering when you see mile marker 10 and 11, that means you're almost at the Mesa Grande aid station. You can start cranking, you can start kicking the turbos in because you're almost free and clear of this death march up this hill. So, depending on what he's going to do for next year, if we have to do that again or if we're going to do something different, I'm just looking forward to no matter what he throws at us, it's going to be fun. It's going to be really difficult and it's going to be a great challenge that I really want to, take and conquer again. And all of us want to do it. There's a lot of my friends that were only able to do the wafer this year. So, they're going to be training hard to do the waffle next year. So there's going to be a lot more of us in our group that are going to be doing this next year. And everybody's like, what's next? Like, what more is he going to be able to throw at us to make this that much more fun, that much more difficult? Whatever he's going to do to us, it's just like, I can't wait to see what he's going to do. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, there is always that excitement. Michael does very well, obviously, with teasing people and kind of putting it out there. So let's talk about you. Like you won the KUDOS award. I mean, that's pretty rad, right? Like, I mean, out of 2,000 or so people, you're selected for the KUDOS award, which I'd say is right up your alley. You're always a good time, and made it through it, and you
Appreciate
have
it.
great spirit about it. Like, were you surprised, or like how was that when you saw that email, or whether you saw it on social, or however you did find out about it?
So the crazy thing was, I was at the gym, and ironically, I'm sitting there doing intervals, and I get a Facebook notification from Andy Brightman of, he posted a picture, and it's got kudos with my face posted. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I was like, what does that mean? Like, I was like, oh, did you vote for me, or are you being nice to me? Like, I had no idea. Well, the thing is, when I was at the gym, the email blast had gone out, and I hadn't read the email yet of all of the classifications on all the awards were given. And then as the day progressed, things were posted on social media, and finally, lo and behold, there was the posting for the KUDOS award. And the first thing that I've said to many people, and I even posted it on the Belgian Waffle Ride Instagram page, is I appreciate and I'm so humbled by getting the award. But in all reality, every single person that did BWR, whether they finished, whether they won, whether they're a pro, whether they're an amateur, even if they didn't finish it, every single person that even attempted to do the BWR deserves kudos, because this is literally, like he calls it, this is the hell of the North County. I mean, looking at my history and the fact that I consider myself more of a weekend warrior type rider, the fact that I was able to get through it, and it did take me 3 years to finally get through it, but it's like, I can't believe that I even attempt to do this. And I can't believe the number of people that line up at Lost Abbey early in the morning to eat their waffles and have their bacon, and then get on their bikes and attempt to do this crazy 1 day race. And it's just like every single person deserves to get kudos. And I'm very humbled by the fact that, I was selected as, one of the two, because Allison was also given the kudos award. So it was just like, when you see all the names of all the awards for the different categories, and to see my name associated with that, dude, I was just like, this can't be real. Like, this has got to be some sort of dream, or there must be a mix up. All of these are professionals, or they've been doing this for a long time, or they've podiumed and do numerous things. And then there's me, and I'm just like, holy cow, that is just the most amazing thing ever. And bottom line is, there's so many people that I have to thank for it, because people apparently they must like what I do, or something, that they thought that I was deserving of getting this award. And I'm very humble, and I'm very appreciative.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's easy decision. You're a good time. You always have fun. You're just very. I think anyone that knows you or sees you, you're just a super positive guy, and like you said, everyone deserves kudos. So I mean, I think that's well deserving that you get the kudos award. Um, Moving forward, like you've done that. You've got a wealth of knowledge of PWR now. You've kind of seen all the different sides to it. I'm always curious, like, to get other people's kind of tips for people that are maybe on the fence, or maybe they don't live down here to where this is like their backyard almost. Like, from your perspective and what you've learned over the last few years, like, what can you give to those people that want to do it, or maybe are nervous, or X, Y, and Z about coming out and doing it for next year?
The main thing is, do it. I don't think, and I mean, I can't say this honestly, because I haven't done any other ultra. Like I said, I haven't done any other ultra endurance type of racing besides BWR. So I don't know if all the other races that are out there, if there's anything else like BWR. From what we've been all been told, it is the hardest 1 day race in all of North America. And trust me, I believe that, because it is very, very difficult. But at the same time, the sense of accomplishment that you're going to get by lining up, by riding and getting through as much as you can, whether you make it through your first year, or it takes you 3 years like me, or you cross the finish line after 12 hours or 13 hours, whatever it takes, that sense of accomplishment that you're going to get at the end of the day is, there's nothing in the world that compares to it. It feels so good. So if you're having doubts of, I don't know if I can really do this, keep in mind that a lot of the people that I rode with, a lot of my friends that I rode with, the maximum mileage that they ever rode prior to doing BWR was 55, 75, 80, 100. Besides doing the recon ride where we did pretty much the whole event prior to doing the actual race, most of my friends have never done anything like this. And it was just that camaraderie of finding the right people to ride with, finding people to train with, and enjoying yourself. And like my friends say, smile while you're doing it. Just smile, and just think to yourself, wow, I'm doing something really, really difficult. And yes, it's really hard, but damn, this actually feels really good that I'm accomplishing something. And when you do finish it, or once you get to Lost Abbey and you're in that whole community and that whole crowd of thousands of people that are around you, that everybody's all giddy and excited for that gate to fall, or for that announcement of our wave is going. When that moment happens, I kid you not, the only thing that I do, the only thing that I do when I roll through that start gate is I smile. My wife is taking my picture. There's people that are cheering you on. It feels amazing. And then the sense of, okay, now I still have to pedal for another 10 to 12 hours. Yes, that's there. But once you're in that whole environment with all those other riders and racers that are in that same environment with you, it is a great community feeling, and it helps you to get through that day. And I've never experienced that type of community at any other event that I've done. I've done mountain bike racing, I've done other gravel events. Yes, I do quick and dirty, and quick and dirty has a very similar community, but it's a very small race in comparison to the Belgian Waffle Ride. But it's that community feeling and that community love that everybody is sharing with each other when you're in that starting grid, that is second to none, and it just has to be experienced, and it will get you through that day.
Yeah, I'd say just right there. That's like, who's that not going to sell on as far as getting them to come out? Well, hey, Michael, I just want to say congrats again. Like, dude, doing what you did, completing it, and your story, and then getting the kudos award on top of everything. I mean, that's quite the achievement. Something to be proud of. And you know, I'm just stoked for you. You're a good guy. So,
I greatly appreciate it, and
uh,
we still got a long year ahead of us. And like I said, I'm already looking forward to 2020. I came up with my own weird little thing. I'm going to go for an Infinity Gauntlet. Infinity Gauntlet, basically, anybody that knows comic books, is 6 stones. So for me in 2020, I want to do 6 events. So Rock Cobbler, Belgian Waffle Ride. Um, let's see here. Steamboat, Dirty Kanza, uh, Rebecca. What is that? My Rebecca's Private
the
Idaho,
Rebecca Rush. Yeah, that
and
Private.
yeah, Rebecca Rush Ride, and Grapes of Wrath. So that's my 2020
Nice.
basically. And
We're gonna have to
everybody's
keep
telling me
updated
that
on
I'm
that.
crazy, but
Oh, it's
hey,
perfect.
if you set a goal for yourself, then it's obtainable. If you don't set a goal for yourself, then you're just winging it. And honestly, with the way that we ride and the enjoyment that we're having a little bit of structure to what we're trying to do and the fun that we're having makes it so you're gonna have that much more fun, because you're like, okay, I get to go to Kansas now, or I get to go to Colorado, or I get to go to Idaho. It's like I'm gonna go places that I've never ridden before, and I'm actually gonna do these really wonky rides, and I'm gonna do these wonky races, and I'm gonna get through them because I know I can do it, and I'm looking forward to it.
No, I like it. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, like, give yourself a little structure and something to shoot for. It's going to keep you accountable. And like, the crazier, the better. I mean, I think that sounds awesome. I think we're going to
There you go.
kind of follow that along and get some updates with you throughout the year. And not to
Definitely.
mention,
And then,
fitness is probably going to
of
be
course, I
pretty
gotta
great for
do your
next year's
rides too.
BWR.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I'll make you go do a few more laps on mine so you get the mileage built up.
There you go. Definitely. And we're looking forward to what you're gonna throw at us. We're looking forward to the unicorns at Spandex Stampede. So whenever you got that going, got to go out there and see you too.
Oh yeah, don't worry. We got something in the works. Keeping it.
Nice.
They'll be coming out soon. But yeah, hey man, once again, Michael, much appreciated for the chat. Sure I'll see you soon. And once again, dude, congrats on everything. That's awesome.
Thank you. And really quickly, thank you to Michael and his whole organization. Thanks to everybody that does anything to do with Belgian Waffle Ride. Congratulations to everybody that even did the race. It was a great day, and we all accomplished something awesome. And once again, thank you to everybody for the vote of confidence on the kudos. I'll make sure to keep this train going, and keep that happy vibe going, and get more people out on the dirt, get more people out on the road. Got to get more kids on bikes, and just keep this train going, and we're gonna have a party all the way, all the time.
Yeah, that we are. As long as we're having a party, we're good. All right, Michael. Well, hey, thanks for the chat, and we'll catch up soon again.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
All right, take it easy. No worries. Bye.